Welcome to The Awakened Heart, a podcast for healing women. This is a place where your voice matters, your body is sacred, and your journey to finding yourself is honored no matter how winding the road. I am Autumn Moran. I am a licensed professional counselor in the state of Texas, a life coach in Texas and beyond. Anywhere outside of Texas is what beyond means. And yoga instructor. That I don't know where I'm going with that. Yes, I'm a yoga instructor. I apply yoga into therapy all the time. It's just part of who I am. It saved my skeletal, muscular body years ago, and I live by it. But ultimately, I am your companion on this divine, sacred path we call healing. This episode, ladies, this episode is for the woman who wakes up tired, is the one who goes through the day wired and falls into bed exhausted by the end of the day or after the work day, wondering how she's still so depleted when she feels that she's doing everything right. You're eating better. You're saying no more often. You've done the therapy, read the books, tried the boundaries. And yet something inside still whispers, why am I always so fucking tired? Not just sleepy, but bone, soul tired. The kind of tired that doesn't go away with 12 hours of sleep, 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, nothing of couching and bed rotting. Today, I want to unpack the quiet, invisible exhaustion, the kind that comes not just from doing too much, but from being someone you're not for too long. From masking, my dears, from surviving, from performing roles that have kept you safe, but now keep you small. This isn't about shame. It never will be about shame. This is about self-honoring. By the end of this episode, I hope that you'll understand what masking is, how it shows up in trauma and neurodivergent women, why it leads and how it can lead to deep fatigue, and how to begin gently reclaiming your energy, your identity, ultimately your life. So let's take a nice deep breath before we jump in. I just made me a fresh cup of coffee, so I can't guarantee there will not be sip breaks in here because, man, it looks so yummy and warm. So take a breath, relax the shoulders, loosen the jaws, inhale deeply down into the belly. Exhale completely. Let it out. All right. I said it. Un poquito, real small moment of masking. Masking is what's keeping you tired. What is masking? Masking is the act of putting on a socially acceptable version of yourself to protect your true self. This can be a mask with yourself, a mask with people you live with, a mask with your family, a mask who you work with, a mask in everyone you encounter, strangers or friends. It's not lying, it's surviving. So for trauma survivors, masking can look like always being the strong one, hiding tears or anger to avoid conflict, smiling when you're falling apart, keeping everyone else comfortable so you're not rejected. Or you're not the problem, quote unquote. And for neurodivergent women, masking can also mean copying social behaviors to fit in. Mirroring your peers, doing the things that they do, watching and observing what they do so you'll know how to act. It could be also hiding, stimming, fidgeting, and needing downtime. Hiding that you want to play with your hair. Hiding that you need something in your hands. Hiding that your fidget's in your pocket. Hiding that you need some alone time. You need to take a breath. You need a minute. Forcing eye contact even when it's draining. Like, how long do I look? When do I not look? Am I making enough? Stop worrying about it. If you want to make eye contact, don't. If you want to look around their head, look on their shoulders, do that. And pretending to be organized or quote unquote on, right? all the time. Just ready. Johnny on the spot. I got it. I can do it. I got it. I got it. I handle it. The world's burning. I got it. You rest. You play. I got it. This is a learned behavior, my dears. It's a brilliant and heartbreaking strategy because it often begins in childhood when being too sensitive, too energetic, too expressive, or just too different led to criticism, punishment, or being ignored. So with that, we learn to hide the real parts of ourselves and perform the ones that we're praised and accepted for. The result? Chronic performance fatigue. We are exhausted by the constant inner monitoring. According to a study published in 2020 on autism in adulthood, late diagnosed autistic adults reported significantly higher levels of exhaustion, depression, and anxiety due to lifelong masking and the effort to pass as neurotypical. Similarly, I need to do vocal exercises before I start recording. In the trauma recovery research field, masking as a survival strategy is linked to emotional numbing, identity confusion, and we all know this one, it's a buzzword now, burnout. It's not just draining to mask, it's disorienting. Because the longer you mask, the less you know who you actually are. So how do you know if you're masking? Let's go a little deeper. I've named some things and it might have hit, but let's go a little deeper, right? Let's see if you're performing instead of living as your full self. So here are some signs that might indicate that you're performing to stay safe or accepted, even if you don't realize it. Again, this is not about shaming. This is about identifying, becoming aware. And as soon as you have self-awareness or awareness, you can start to think of planning and pivoting and changing. So knowing's half the battle. We got this. Let's see what we know. All right. So what if you shift your personality depending on who you're with? You can become the funny one, the caretaker, the low maintenance friend, the put together one. Not because that's truly how you feel, but because it keeps things smooth. It keeps the interaction joyful. It keeps it not awkward, or it gets you approval or prevents judgment. This is a big one, and I see this a lot with my clients, and I work hard on this one to overcome this, but you second guess your emotions. You feel angry, but you immediately tell yourself it's not that bad, or to calm down, or not to be too much. You feel sad and quickly say, oh, I'm just tired. You brush it off, not acknowledging your emotions, not acknowledging what's really going on. There's a quiet filter between what you feel and what you let yourself express. Because gosh, women, neurodivergent women, stay in your place, sis. Be small, smile. Don't make anyone feel uncomfortable. Don't say anything to rock the boat. Don't be loud, right? All these social norms we've picked up by our caregivers and society leads to us second guessing our emotions so we can fit in, so that we don't get thrown from the pack, right? You're hyper aware of how others see you. I mean, this is that fear of perception, right? Even when you love people, you feel like you have to put on an armor to show up. Not more armor, yes, but a show, right? You scan for disapproval. You rehearse your conversations in your head. You try to make yourself smaller, nicer, easier to digest, right? So somewhat of an armor. You put on an outfit, right? To keep you safe and to give people the idea that you fit in. How about you gear up before social interactions, right? Scripting is another term for this. Even when you love people, it's also the same thing, right? You're gearing up to what to say, how to respond. You prep yourself emotionally, mentally rehearse, and collapse after it's all over. Or you can struggle to name your preferences. Someone asks you what you want for dinner, your brain goes blank. I don't know, whatever. Because you've had to make so many decisions all day long just to fit in. Not decisions to tap into yourself, not decisions to see what you need, but you've been making decisions all day long to try to fit in. So some decision fatigue, sure. As you struggle to name your preferences, it's a lot. You're used to going with the flow. You've lost touch with what you actually like. Or maybe you feel like a fraud even when no one is criticizing you, right? Imposter syndrome, self-doubt, and the lingering sense that you're just too much or not enough often comes from years of playing roles that weren't yours to begin with. Performing becomes such second nature that we stop noticing we're doing it. It's like wearing a mask for so long that it molds to your face until one day you wonder, is this who I really am? Like, what the fuck am I doing? Or is this just who I've had to be? Like, what's going on? How did I get here? I don't like this. And that's the truth of it. Performing is exhausting, not because you're weak, but because it takes tremendous effort to suppress your authentic truth all day, every day. So if you're tired all the time, if you find yourself collapsing after doing normal, mundane things, if you wonder why rest never feels like enough, it might not be because you're doing too much. It might be because you're being someone you're not. And unlearning this isn't failure. It's the first step back to yourself, right? Or the first step to making a home within yourself for yourself, right? Maybe we've never had a home within ourselves to come home to. Maybe we've been surviving and masking and performing and people pleasing our whole life, so we don't know what it means to come back home. But we can create a new home, a new safe space. And talking about making a home for yourself within yourself can be such a wild and ambiguous place to start, right? Unmasking for me was an explosion. It happened at the height of COVID. I got the first glimpse of what it felt like to work from home. And I had decided that this is what I've needed my whole entire life. This was one of the components that led to me not being able to stay stable in jobs because office environments, small talk, social requirements to perform and act a certain way were too much for me. Took too many of my spoons, took too much mental energy. So in the height of COVID, in the height of people, leaders, bosses that I looked up to and thought they had their shit together, told me that I wasn't going to make it, told me that there wasn't enough, scared me with scarcity because they needed my good work on their team. Well, I said, fuck that. I started my own private practice. I started working from home. I got a divorce. I did some wild things with my hair for a while. I moved locations. I moved closer to the ocean, to the water, back to my roots. I changed my relationship with cooking and how I perform for myself and for my children, and as I perform as a mother. I made new rules, things that were taking too much of me. I stopped doing or I did less of. There was a lot of burnout in my life, emotional burnout, parenting burnout, life burnout, if you will. By just being a neurodivergent woman and not knowing my whole life and not having the accommodations that I so desperately needed to succeed. I mean, the realization that I was masking, the realization of the scripting, it took a hell of a lot of weight off my shoulders and helped me understand that it was time to accommodate more than I've ever accommodated more than I've already accommodated naturally. It can be a slow road. It can be a fast road. It can be whatever pace you want it to be. But I share this to say that I feel free. It opened up space for me to find myself, to learn what I do and don't like, to have my own beliefs in the crowd, to say who I am out loud and not be afraid of that. It was a becoming of myself. It was a freeing, hard, difficult, fun movement of mine, journey, if you will. And I'm still unmasking. I mean, it's not just going to fall off. I still get in social situations and will check myself mirroring, will check myself scripting, and I will just have to stop and self-soothe and love myself the way I am and encourage myself to be authentic despite the fears of the group. I no longer walk away from situations feeling depleted or just icky. I show up authentically, and if they don't like it, that's okay. Not everybody's going to like us. I don't like everybody. Let's just be real. You don't like everybody. All right, I'm going to take a sip. Think about the unmasking. Think about how you perform, the things we've talked about so far. Do any of these ring true for you? Do you struggle? Do you gear up? Are you hyper aware? Do you second guess? Is that imposter syndrome there when you're just trying to be around people you're always around? So we can think of masking as a social habit or a mindset, but the truth of it is masking lives in the body. When you spend years or even decades performing safety, suppressing emotion, and shape-shifting to survive, your nervous system pays the price, my dear. So let's talk about what that might look like. Let's go a little deeper. We've got the emotional feeling. Now let's go into the nervous system. Masking keeps your nervous system in a heightened state. Even if you're smiling on the outside, your body is in constant surveillance mode. You're monitoring tone of voice, facial expressions, environment, and energy shifts. That's not just perceptive, that's hypervigilance. And hypervigilance is exhausting. It's like your internal alarm system is already always partially activated. Even when you're sitting still, your body is not resting. How about you're tired, but you can't rest? You collapse at the end of the day, but still can't fall asleep. Or maybe you sleep 8 to 12 hours and wake up feeling like you've been hit by a fucking truck. Why? Because the emotional labor takes a toll. Suppressing your truth, monitoring your behavior, masking your pain. These things demand physical energy. Your body burns through resources trying to keep you quote unquote acceptable and safe. This isn't laziness. This is a nervous system depletion. You can also experience chronic tension or somatic symptoms. Masking creates stored stress in the body, especially if it's tied to trauma and neurodivergence. So you may feel tight jaws, tight shoulders, tight chest, digestive issues, constipation, diarrhea, upset stomach, nausea, hormone imbalances, moods that go up and down, irritability that rises, depression that rises, headaches or migraines. Huge. Holding your breath without realizing it, not breathing deeply, just breathing into the chest, that shallow breath where it's not going into the belly, it's just going into the chest and out, creating more tension. Your body is trying to tell you the truth, even when your mouth doesn't. It's screaming so loudly, look at me, do what I need to do, not what the world wants you to do. When you live in a masked state, it's hard to identify what you actually need, right? Said that once before. You might go to therapy and struggle to know what to say. You might try self-care routines that don't feel like they're working. You might try to heal from trauma without ever touching the protective strategies still running in the background. Because healing isn't just about what you do, it's about who you allow yourself to be. So let me ask this, a little thought question. What part of your daily life feels most draining? Are there moments when you can feel yourself turning on a version of you that others expect? What would it feel like to soften that even 1%? I'm not talking about doing it my way and ripping the mask off and just dropping a bomb all at once. I'm talking about noticing when it becomes automatic and getting curious about what's underneath. It's about getting to your true self. It's about listening to your internal world instead of the external world. What do you really want to do? What is that tight chest, those clenched jaws really telling you right now? I think that means a no, sis, not a yes. Take a break, right? Whatever it is you need. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Unmasking is not only empowering, it's also disorienting, it's vulnerable, and sometimes it's fucking heartbreaking. Because when you start to live your life with authentically, when you start to live your life authentically, something happens. And not to be doom and gloom, but to let you know, some people will fall away. Because some people are there for the performance because it benefits them and it's never been about you. But the thing I have to say about that, those relationships, I mean, if you're honest with yourself, you were probably lonely in that relationship already without you unmasking. So good riddance. Thanks for dropping dead weight. So for many women, the first wave of unmasking isn't freedom, it's grief. I mean, yes. Grief for the years you spent trying to be fucking easy, likable, and the strong one, and you realize that you don't have to do that. Other people can take care of themselves. Grief for the parts of yourself that were ignored or that were shamed. For being too much, for having lots of interest, our main interest, in being enthralled in it. Grief for the friendships, jobs, or relationships that only knew the mass version of you. Fuck them, and also how sad. Right? And grief for the truth that you were never fully seen and maybe didn't even know what being seen meant, right? Later in life, being diagnosed with ADHD, autism, and realizing that no one stopped and said, let's have a little talk with her. Let's ask her how she's doing. Let's talk about these issues that are making us feel uncomfortable or new to us. Again, you want to say fuck them. And those people may still be in your life. Those caregivers may still be in your life. You can have conversations with them, hopefully, to understand where they were coming from. Probably they lack the emotional maturity to stop and see that something was different and that there could be something about it, because older generations cared more about what the appearance looked like to the outside than actually finding solutions to problems. Sorry, I don't mean to bash on people, but it just seems to be the pattern that my beautiful brain keeps recognizing with the people I work with and in my life. If you don't like it, do better. Change things. Stop worrying about what other people think outside. Like, get over it. Who gives a shit what people think? All right. You might feel like, if I stop being who I've always been, who am I now? That's fucking sacred grief, my dear. It's not a sign you're broken. It's a sign you're waking up to your actual self. And once you have the language for masking, things start to click. Oh, that's why I always feel so exhausted after XYZ, or after social events, or after talking to so-and-so. That's why I cried after meetings, even when no one was mean. It was over-fucking-whelming, overstimulating. Or that's why I couldn't rest on vacation. I was still performing. Especially moms, caregiver roles. Can't sit down and read that book. Gotta watch the kids if your partner's not showing up 50-50, 60-40, 70-30, right? That's another topic. It's a conversation to be had if that's the situation. But the language gives us permission. It helps the nervous system take a nice, much-needed exhale. It helps you realize there was nothing wrong with me. I was just simply surviving in a world that wasn't able to embrace me fully. And now I can create my own world and embrace myself fully and let anyone that wants to do that with me come along for the ride. Anyone else, stay your ass at the stop sign, at the bus stop. So this is the beginning of reclamation. This is the beginning of finding yourself, acknowledging, being aware of what masking is and how it happens for you in your life. But after grief, something new begins to grow. Not a new version of you, but the real fucking you, finally being allowed to breathe fresh air, to take up space. Unmasking doesn't mean being raw and exposed all the time. It means you get to choose when, where, and how you show up. You can find joy in laughing without self-monitoring. Oh my gosh, I'll share. I was teaching beach yoga and I have a little headset and I forgot it was on, which is rare because I'm always aware of it because I feel so performative with it. But gosh, does it help me speak over the waves? I don't have to holler. And we were talking after class and I forgot it was on and I laughed so loud and it boomed out of that speaker. I was not self-monitoring and I was like, whoa. It was nice to know that I'd let myself be free without monitoring in a group of people that were there for my yoga guidance, right? I was still able to be myself at this point in time, which was beautiful. You might find joy in dressing how you like, not how you're expected to look. I mean, let's talk about dopamine dressing or dressing for comfort. I don't give a fuck what what the normal attire is. I'm going for comfy. I'm going for comfortable. I don't want anything tied around my waist. I don't want anything tied around my neck. I don't want anything compressing on my body. Unless it's yoga pants, don't ask. I don't know how that makes sense for me, but it works. Dress the way that feels good to you. You might find joy in saying, I don't want to go, and trusting that you don't have to explain why. Like, no, I'm good. I'll see you when you get back. Have a good time. And you might find joy in taking up space emotionally or physically without apology. Please take up space, sis. There is a Spotify playlist link in my link tree in the show notes. There is a playlist called Divine Woman. In there is a song, Take Up Space, sis. Find it, listen to it, let it be your mantra. Unmasking is not the end of the story. It's really the fucking beginning to finally belong to yourself. So here's some more reflections, just to take a beat, take a breath, and just a thought. What part of myself have I kept hidden because I thought they weren't acceptable? that your love of butterflies or elephants and you want to wear a butterfly pin or an elephant pin wherever you go, or collect them, or have sculptures? I don't know. What is it that you keep hidden about yourself that you think people would be like, oh my God, do that? Who am I becoming when I stop performing? What does that look like if you're not performing, even for yourself? Let's say your performance is, I got to have the bed made every day. That is a mask you're putting for yourself. You're masking for yourself. You are a human being. That bed can be made or not, perfect or not. You can waft the blanket on top of everything and walk away. You have layers to getting it done. But if you hold yourself to the standard of it has to look perfect in case someone comes in or in case I'm judged, you are masking. Unmask there. Start letting yourself be who you are without apology on even the small, mundane things you do for yourself. So that moves in. Places in your life. Where in your life do you feel safe enough to try to show up more fully? If you can start with yourself, if that feels safest, start with yourself. That's okay. If this part feels a little tender, you're not alone. More and more women are unmasking later in life because they're getting diagnosed neurodivergent, because they're healing their traumas of people pleasing, and because perimenopause comes into play. Late 30s, mid 30s to 40s until menopause starts, it really undoes the masking. You really lose the desire for the bullshit. You really get to see the bullshit for what it is. All right. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a dramatic life overhaul. My example was a life overhaul. It was messy. It was stressful. You can take it slow. You can slowly unravel this masking and not blow up everything. It often begins in quiet, sacred ways anyway. Moments where you let yourself be you just a little more without apology or performance. So let's see what we can do here. How ways to kind of ease into unmasking. First off, notice where you feel the most performative. Where do you feel like you're on all the time? Around whom do you feel drained or overly edited? Who makes you feel the smallest in your circle? What roles, like a good mom, a perfect friend, a team player, excellent boss, feel heavy or fake? Start there. Not to judge yourself, but to gather clues. I've said it before, I'll say it again, and I'll say it again in future episodes. But self-awareness is key. This is the first way you can unmask, because the more knowledge you have of yourself, the more information you have to make plans, pivot, and take action steps. Self-awareness is the first step. You can also practice micro-authenticity. You don't have to go full truth teller in every conversation. Start with micro moments of realness. Saying I'm tired instead of I'm fine. Practice it with strangers, right? And this may be hard because of perception and societal pressures, right? But when someone says, how are you doing? I will give them a genuine answer. Not trauma dump, but I will give them a genuine answer. If I'm doing good, I'll say, I am having a really good day. Thank you so much. It's quite pleasant. How are you? If I'm feeling it and struggling, I take the term, I'm upright and standing today. I'm making it. I'm breathing. I'm here. I'm taking step by step. You know what I mean? I'm not fine. If I'm not fine, I'm not going to tell you I'm fine. You ask me, I'm going to tell you. Be real. How about wearing clothes that feel good to you, not just what looks put together, right? We just went over this, and I'll say this again, right? Wear the clothes that fit you. Wear the clothes that make you feel comfortable. If you have to work in an office job, wear the clothes that fit within your guidelines, that make you feel comfy and not squeezed into some damn outfit to look a certain way. Fuck the heels. Those have been gone out of my life for so long. I don't even know if I can walk on heels now. And girl, if you would have seen me in my 20s, that's a wild thing to think. But I think I have one pair of heels now, just in case I got to do something. Oh, this is my favorite. And this is also just women unmasking altogether. Because we've been taught to just smile and play along, even when we're uncomfortable. But I want you to take a micro authenticity by not laughing at jokes that don't sit right. You don't have to call them out, but you don't have to laugh. Dude, grow up. Don't be so gross. Find out what real humor is. That's not humor. You don't have to say all that, but you sure as shit don't have to laugh. And then letting silence happen without rushing to fill it. Like, don't fill the space with words. Let it be. These are small shifts to tell your nervous system it's safe to be real. Next up, let's replace performing with presence. When you catch yourself people-pleasing, perfecting, ask yourself, what would feel more honest right now? Is this performance necessary or just familiar? Is this habit? Rescuing, saving, caregiving? Can you sit back and enjoy your drink or conversation and let someone else take the reign? Am I trying to control how I'm perceived? Or can I just be here? Let presence replace polish. Let truth replace tension. And it's okay if it feels awkward at first. That's how muscles grow. You're asking yourself to speak a new language that you've never, ever, ever, ever allowed yourself to speak. Often the mask is there because a younger version of you felt like being real wasn't safe. Maybe you were shamed for crying or punished for being too much, too loud, too busy, too backtalky, asking too many questions. Maybe your neurodivergent traits were misunderstood. Maybe survival meant blending in, being liked, and staying small and invisible. That's how you got praise. But you can reparent yourself and gently speak to that part of you, saying, I see you. You don't have to hide anymore. We are safe. I'm going to love you in real time, as you are, whoever you present as, because you are an amazing, worthy human, just as you are. Not because you mask, but because you unmask. This inner dialogue is a powerful way to soften the need to mask. Reparenting yourself, self-soothing, doing the things that you needed to be done and said for you and to you when you were a little kid, when you were just a wee lad. And please try to surround yourself with unmasked people. Healing happens in relationships, so find the ones who don't need you to shrink to be lovable, who invite your truth and your rest, who aren't performative themselves, who see you, not just your roles. Even one safe relationship can change everything. For many women, especially neurodivergent, trauma-surviving, people-pleasing, high-achieving women, unmasking feels both exciting and disorienting. Because the mask wasn't just something you wore for yourself. It has become part of who you thought you had to be. So when you begin to take it off, like I said, there's grief, there's confusion. But there's also deep cellular level relief. You might be noticing you can stop performing friendliness when you're not feeling safe. You can wear clothes that feel like you, not what you think you're supposed to wear. You can stop answering questions with what sounds polite and start answering with what feels true. You don't have to explain yourself too much. You kind of let the silence speak for itself. Rebuilding a mask-free life doesn't mean suddenly being raw and exposed all the time. It means creating relationships, routines, work environments, and self-practices that don't require you to shapeshift in order to be loved, included, or feel safe. A life without masking doesn't mean a life without challenge. It means your nervous system becomes your compass. Softness becomes your signal of alignment. Your no is sacred. Your unmasking is not the problem. It is the catalyst to beginning to live life on your terms in a happy, productive, healthy way. So here you go, thought prompt. What's one thing I do today that I only do because I think I have to? What is one thing I do today that I only do because I think I have to? And then gently, how can you make a micro step to not doing that today? Maybe a little less of it today. Maybe create a new rule, let someone else do it. Delegate. So that was a whole conversation about invisible weight we've been carrying, right? Not just the to-do lists, not just the mental load of being a parent, a caregiver, an adult, a career person, but the pressure to be okay. To mask your exhaustion, your sensitivity, your truth, just to feel safe. And if your body is whispering, girl, this is me. Is this what I'm doing? How do I stop this? I want you to know you're tired because you've been performing safety your entire life. And that performance takes energy. And unlearning it takes fucking compassion for yourself. So what part of you is tired of performing, my dear? Try not to force an answer. Just get curious. Maybe it's your smile. Maybe it's always texting back right away. Maybe it's the way you sit in meetings. Maybe it's the way you show up for family who never really saw you. I've said it several times. You don't have to rip the whole mask off today, but you can loosen it. You can take breaks. You can begin the slow, steady work of coming to who you really are underneath it all. You are enough without the performance. You are lovable in your softness, your loudness, your eccentricness, your boldness, your thoughts, your dreams. You are worthy of a life that doesn't require you to prove or perform to belong. You got this, sis. Take the small step. Acknowledge that you are worthy and desirable and deserving of being who you are, not who people want you to be or who society has taught you to be. If it's not feeling right for you, if you're exhausted, if you're tired, take action to be yourself, to unmask. And if this episode resonated with you, if you know a fellow woman that is tired and is doing all the right things, the lab work is great, the nutrition's great, trying really hard, being good to myself, and I'm just not there, please share. That simple act helps this podcast reach more healing women just like you, and that is my goal. My life's purpose is to help women come home to themselves and find love and light and life within themselves on their terms. We're shedding shame. We're releasing roles. We are coming home to ourselves, maybe the first time in our whole lives. I'd love to hear from you. Message me, comment, or follow. And a little bit of note for you. I offer private sessions for therapy if you're in Texas, and life coaching if you're out of the state or abroad. Whether you're healing from trauma or navigating late diagnosis of neurodivergency or just learning to unmask after people pleasing, I hold space for women just like you every day of the week, and it is my honor. I would love to help you grow and feel alive and just be seen by your own self and feel worthy and strong within your own right, not from anybody else. If that's something you're curious about, you can fill out a consultation request via my Linktree in the notes, and it'll be a free 15-minute consultation to see if we're a good fit. Got that Spotify playlist. Some goodies there for you. And if anything else, please remember, you are never too much, you are never too late, or never too far gone. And you don't have to figure it out all alone. I'm here for you. Until next time, may you be happy and free. May mine and your healing ripple outward to bless the world with happiness and freedom. Take care of you, and I'll see you soon.